Welcome back to Don's Life. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining today. 1 year ago, I put out a video talking about DFM, dynamic fuel management, and whether or not when you shift to manual mode in your transmission, just one gear down from whatever your top gear is, in this case, L9 on a 10-speed transmission, if I was to shift to that gear, does it in fact disable DFM? I've had a lot of commentary come my way. A lot of people send me direct messages, emails. Here are my findings. Let's go. Today's video is brought to you by Let's Get Checked. Low testosterone can affect your health, whether it be mood, muscle mass, memory, even sex drive. Testosterone levels in men are diminishing at an alarming rate. We're seeing levels now 30% lower than when our fathers were 30 years old. Either way, low testosterone is a concern when you get older, but it affects you at any age. Let's Get Checked is a worldwide leader at in-home health tests. They can send you a male hormone test kit, and the process couldn't be any easier. Simply order the kit you prefer. It'll arrive in a discreet package. Provide your sample, send it back. Once they receive it, it'll take 2 to 3 days to see your online results on a secure account. A clinician may contact you to also review those results. Let's Get Checked laboratories have the highest ranking levels of accreditation. They are both CLIA approved and CAP accredited. If you're curious and you want to get your testosterone tested from the convenience of your home, go to trylgc.com/DonsLife and enter the promo code DonsLife to save yourself 25%. Now let's get back to the video. So the answer is yes. Shifting to manual mode, to L9 in my case, L7 if you have an 8-speed transmission, or L5 if you have a 6-speed transmission, whether it says an M or an L there, as long as it's a manual mode, you will disable DFM. So first, let's start with the benefits of sound. So for me, I have an aftermarket exhaust, and you can really hear this V8 sing. So I'll tell you right there, just on that alone, disabling DFM by being an L9 is super worth it to me. Now I'm going to shift back to drive, and I'm going to roll my window down so hopefully you can hear the exhaust as I come to a stop. Now that I'm accelerating, more cylinders are probably working, but listen when I slow down. You hear that? There's a big surge at the end. When you're running with manual mode in one of your manual gears, L9 or below, you don't get that surge when you come to a stop, which smooth as ice. So let's talk mileage. Based on what I just did with my little acceleration stunt there, you can tell that mileage is not my top concern. But there's a few conflicting comments or reports out there, but the majority of people are saying that they see a mileage improvement, meaning they're actually saving fuel running in L9 or manual mode, we'll call it. I can't say that that's true. I don't have the patience to test it. I drive a little too hard to do that test, but at least I'm sounding good doing it, whether I'm saving fuel or not. So does disabling DFM protect you from lifter failure? I know you want me to say yes, but in my opinion, and many of you out there share the same opinion, it's not going to save you from lifter failure. A bad lifter is a bad lifter at the end of the day, whether that cylinder is being taxed more or not. A bad lifter will fail when it's ready to fail. So unfortunately, I don't think that turning DFM off is going to save people from lifter failure. Just hope that you're not one of that group of percentages that is impacted. We're going to dig a little bit deeper on this one. I did have a comment more recently that stuck out to me, and I'm going to share it with you now. I'm just going to pull over, but this one comes from Chester. So a couple weeks ago, Chester wrote, "Hi Don, I just received my X-Tool D8BT. It clearly shows in 3 different ways that the DFM is active on my 2020 Silverado 6.2. The thing I was relieved to see is that it is constantly changing which cylinders are active and which are inactive. It moves the cutoff cylinders all around the 8, so no hotspot is likely to form. You can see the signal from the ECU that is sent to each solenoid. You can see each solenoid activating, and you can see the injector for the cylinder deactivate while the lifter is flat. I can't see how the system could harm the engine because it moves the hot cylinder around so much. Of course, all this complication is just another system that can fail and cause maintenance costs, but it does save some fuel by only using the cylinders it needs. And yes, I can see that L9 for 10-speed tranny or L7 for 8-speed tranny does deactivate DFM and also prevents auto stop. But as soon as you go to L10 or drive, it starts deselecting cylinders. Thanks for bringing this potential concern up, but what I saw was not going to cause hotspots, and warping of the blocker head just moves too fast between the cylinders. Chess. So big thanks to Chester for helping validate this concern, because many of us were on the fence, and there's some other comments in there that were under this theme as well. So thank you to all of you. I think we have a better idea of what DFM is doing and the benefits of using it and or not using it. Since I've been making videos, I continue to answer as many questions as possible, and this is one of those videos that I had made a year ago that tends to have some of the most commentary. And one of the questions I get asked the most is specifically how to shift to L9, because even the first time I heard of L9, I didn't know what they were talking about, because all the manual shifting I had ever done was signified by an M and not an L. This truck, it's an L. So when I first heard L9, I didn't make the connection immediately. But with a little, looking and common sense, I figured it out. And I just want to kind of go over the process for anybody that's curious, doesn't know what the heck L9 is or M9, and show you exactly how to shift to it. And then the behavior of the transmission when you are at those higher speeds, what's going to happen when you're going back and forth between manual mode and drive. So first we're going to do park to L9. Okay, so we are in park. I pass drive and go right to L. It says L1 down here. I use the plus symbol on my shifter stock, and I go to L9. If I go to L10, that's no different than drive. So we're gonna leave it at L9. Next, I'm gonna show you what happens when the vehicle is in motion and you're in L9 and you wanna shift back to drive, maybe because you're going at highway speeds or about to. So I'm going a little faster here. I'm going to just shift it to drive. My foot's still on the accelerator. Smooth, no issue. Now what happens if you're driving faster like I am and you want to go back to L9? So this is what's going to happen. Right now the transmission's in a very specific gear. I'm not sure which one it's in. I'm going to say 7, just a guess. Now when I shift to L, it should show me what that gear is. There we go, L7. Now I can adjust it with the plus and go to L9 and I'm back in it. So what I wanted to illustrate is there's no danger in switching back and forth. Once you switch to L from drive, it's going to put you in whatever gear the transmission is already in, and then you can adjust it from there. And just to clarify another comment that I get often in my response to it, if I'm going to be doing highway speeds, road trip, anything like that, just driving outside of the city, I leave it in drive. My aftermarket exhaust, because the RPMs aren't very high, I'm not hearing it. If it's shutting down cylinders, the sound really isn't bothering me because I actually can't hear it. I've been asked a few times about towing while in manual mode. I don't bother. If I'm in drive or tow haul mode, I know that pulling 8,000 pounds, it needs all the power it can get and it's not deactivating cylinders. So for towing purposes, I just leave it as normal and I don't disable anything. Well, I thought it was a good idea to put this little video together for you. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, please hit that like button. Please consider subscribing, and we'll talk to you next time.